Great. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and Ramadan Kareem. So I am Farima. I am part of the Snap MENA team. My role is business solutions, and I lead a couple of industries here at Snap. I have been at Snap for close to 5 years. And before that, I worked at Yahoo for 7 years. So been in the tech industry and sales role for quite a while. First of all, I'm really honored to be here today and have this chance to share some of my experience during these couple of years of working in the industry with our young talent out there. I am a mother myself, so I am quite passionate about education, about the progress that our young talent have in this region. And I am also very thankful for organizations such as INJAZ that are here to drive these important initiatives and empower our region's youth and increase their employability for the future when they get into the market. So today I would like to focus on interviewing process and also give you some tips and important learning about active listening. Now, why active listening? Let's just have a quick review of the type of things we do to prepare for interview. I think it's important that we understand what are some of the processes to prepare for an interview. So first, most of us update our CV. If you already had an interview experience, or going to have one soon in the near future, your first step is to prepare for your CV. So the CV that we usually prepare is to match the role, your expertise, and try to implement some of those role descriptions into your CV, so it's a relevant job for you. Then you research about the company. So you have a look at, for example, I'm interested to join Snap. What does Snapchat do? They are an innovative company. They are a camera company. They are very popular amongst Gen Z and in markets like Saudi Arabia. And what is their overall vision? Make the world a better place and bring camera communication to the world. So you do a bit of research about the company, prepare for it, and start your interview. You also research about the panel of interviewees. That's really important because the people you are going to speak to come from different interests, backgrounds. They have different experiences, and their role at the current company is different. So each of them come to the interview for a specific reason. So a research about them will really help you identify who are those people you need to address and what sort of information they'll be interested to know. You have a short bio ready about yourself. That's so important because the first question is always, tell me about yourself. And that bio, don't forget to bring a bit of personal taste or flavor into it. We are human and we want to speak to humans. So don't just start and talk about experiences, but also say, who are you? And then you prepare some answers to common questions. Some of these common questions, I can tell you off the bat, are very similar. Give me some answers about the best qualifications you have. 3 words that describes you. What are your values? What would your peers say about you? If you are stuck in a complex situation or have a problem, how would you solve it? So prepare for those. That's easy. One of them will come up. You obviously lastly dress appropriately, depending on the job and the role, and also ensure that you have some follow-up questions or your email ready so you're not overwhelmed when they ask you, do you have any questions for me? Now, these preparations are key, obviously, because it will give you the confidence to enter the interview knowing exactly what you're going to say. But what's so important is from the moment you enter the interview. And I'll tell you one thing. I have done more than 300 interviews in my career and hired many people before. Our Snap team in MENA is 60 people. I was the number 2 employee here. So we've done numerous number of interviews and hiring. The most crucial step of an interview, once you're shortlisted and your experience is relevant, is the fact that you can communicate. The face-to-face interview is, I already know about your experience. I have read your CV. I have recommendations probably from people. I kind of know why I'm talking to you. What I want to know is, are you listening? And are you able to simplify answers and communicate clearly? And now that's what makes you stand out and land the job. So, what is active listening? And why would it cause so much gap in our communication, which then results in our true connection with one another? Let me just give you an example. I think that will clarify for you really easily what I mean. I have interviewed many candidates before, which I thought, my God, on CV, they really match the experiences I'm looking for. The recommendations that came with it are amazing. People really trust them. They think they're great people. I think culturally they fit. Literally, they tick all the boxes. But through my questions to them, I realized that a few of the times the answers to my questions are something they already prepared to answer. It's not really genuinely answering my questions. When that happens, my initial and immediate sense is that this person is not listening. This person just wants to dominate the conversation and throw and say things that they're comfortable talking about, right? And I'll give you one example. I had a candidate that was super interesting. I really was sold on it prior to meeting him. But through the questions, I realized this is happening. And you know what I did? I asked a trick question, a very vague question that I simply didn't even know the answer to. My expectation was for him to stand back, digest it, take a pause, and perhaps ask a following question and say, I'm not sure if I got you, or do you mean this specific area? Instead, he followed up with the answer very quickly, immediately, and of course, the answer wasn't right. And you know the end of the story. I did not hire this candidate. Why? Because I know once we start working together, and in the future in the workplace, the lack of active listening will in fact result in many problems and gaps in our communication. Remember, job interview is a two-way conversation. Most of us enter an interview and go, hey, I just have to enter this interview 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and talk about myself and my capabilities and how great I am and where are the areas I'd like to develop. That's not true. Interview is a two-way conversation. I ask a question, you answer that question. As simple as that. Listen to what interests me and why I'm asking that question. Digest that information and don't jump into conclusion that you understood the question. Now, let's go back to listening in general, not just for interview process, and why does it matter so much? Listening is the fundamental component of communication skill. Why is that? Because if you don't listen carefully, you will interrupt, dominate, come across wrong, and the conversation is not effective. Listening is when you understand the question and reply, not when you just want to reply. So why listening matters in our business, in the real business world? It increases competence and knowledge. Competence and knowledge comes when you listen and learn. If you continuously speak and never take the time to digest information or understand where those individual informations or people coming from, you will never be able to learn. It saves time and money for the company. Why? Because effective listening reduces the risk of misunderstanding, misalignment, and eventually things that could damage the business. It also saves time and money Because when we start a task, everyone has full alignment on what their next steps are, rather than jumping right into it and cause confusion and misalignment. It builds deep trust. And this is in your life as well, right? If you're a good listener by nature, lucky you. If you're not, practice and practice the muscle. Because what it does, it builds trust with people around you. You cultivate the habit of listening sincerely, and people will come forward and share more with you. And lastly, it makes you approachable. If later on you want to go for a leadership position, managing people, becoming the next CEO, hopefully, you need to present yourself as a patient listener. Why? Because people are naturally inclined to share information with you and communicate with you when you're approachable. And you can only make right decisions when you have all the information with you. So that's really important. Okay, fine. I hope everyone's agree with me that active listening is important. But what are the methods we could do and apply in our life pretty much immediately that could help us to become better listeners? As I said, it all takes a lot of practice. So here's some methods. Your body language is the first step you need to take. When you actually start facing someone when they speak, remember your entire physics, not maybe in today's Zoom calls and screens, which I will give you some tips on it as well, but in real life, your entire body pointing to someone, giving someone an eye-to-eye contact, and putting all the other distractions away will show them immediately that your entire presence is with them. So when somebody talks to you, don't look at your computer, don't look at your iPad, don't check your messages, don't do many other things. Just give them your entire body presence and attention. In a job interview, if it happens on a Zoom, today's life, or later on in person, remember, same exact thing. Point to them. I've seen candidates coming through and interviewing, and their legs on the other side, they're looking out of the window when I'm talking to them because they're actively thinking. I know they're listening, but they're just doing this. And to me, that is that I don't have their presence. So it really matters. Focus on and be patient. Remember, people think, digest information, and speak at a very different speed, at a very different pace. So it's up to you to understand if you're way too fast or way too slow in listening and speaking. Read the person in front of you, see how they're digesting information, and try to pace yourself with them. Also, don't interrupt them. Just be patient. If they're saying something that's taking a little bit of a time and you're a fast speaker, it's okay. No one's going to go anywhere. It's fine. Just be patient, listen to them, let them completely finish their thought and sentence, and see if you got an idea of what they're trying to say. Ask questions and clarify. Now, this is super important. As I mentioned before, I had interviews where I asked a vague question, an immediate answer was logical information about what that person thought was the right answer. Ask a question. There is nothing wrong about asking questions. In fact, is one of the most powerful tools we have in understanding. Repeat what they say, the words they use, mirror them. There's an amazing story about mirroring. Go and search it, look it up, learn it. It's so important to ask the question and clarify and go deeper and deeper into what they're trying to ask or understand. Also, lastly, make sure that you summarize the conversation to be fully aligned on what was discussed. So, for example, I say, hey, I want you to go and finish this project. Make sure that it is you can email it to me by tomorrow. Is it clear? Do you have questions about it? Is there something not right? Is the deadline does the deadline idea crazy? It's fine. Clarify, repeat those information that you just received, and make sure that everybody's fully aligned. This is really important, feeling the empathy. Now, feeling the empathy is when you put yourself in someone else's shoes and position. In an interview process, why am I interviewing you? What am I looking for? Am I just looking to fill up that talent and get somebody to just get the job done? Is there a diversity issue in my team? Do I not have a young talent that could probably help and bring amazing new ideas? Or is there something else I'm suffering with? Am I just need you because of your certain expertise, or do I need you for your culture? What is it that I'm here for? What am I desperate to get? Obviously, there's a reason I'm interviewing you, right? Or same thing with any conversation. I'm trying to deliver a message. So put yourself in my shoes and feel that empathy. What is it that you can do to add value right now? What is the point of this conversation or interview or question? The nonverbal cues are extremely important. Nonverbal cues are when you very easily can read someone's body language and understand if they're interested or bored or annoyed or get to the point or I don't think that makes sense or excited. It's so easy. If you start really observing someone's body language, a few tips. If my shoulders are up, maybe I'm not understanding. If I'm leaning forward, I'm interested. So keep going. If I'm going backwards, means I'm not sure if it's related to what I'm trying to achieve. If my eyebrows are up, there are so much body language going on at the same time that I know it's hard to multitask, but start reading people's body languages around you. It really matters during interview and in a workspace as well. Last two things. First impression happens in 7 seconds. You literally have 7 seconds to make your first impression. And my God, it's so hard to change that first impression. I enter to interviews. People don't know how to work out their Zoom. They don't know how to unmute. They're agitated. They're nervous. They're sweating. They're running out of breath. Take a moment, pause, breathe, come in with an open heart, a smile, and welcome the person who is trying to come and have a conversation with you. Don't let that anxiety and stress and unreadiness and tech issue reflect on the conversations we're about to have and the person you really are. Be yourself. Are you an excited, happy person? Are you a serious, get the job person? This is all going to be in the first 7 seconds. So show that. Be open to it. Show that. I would love to see that. Lastly, is the last impression that people remember. So when I interview someone, the next step, the questions they ask, and how they close that interview with really good reminder of why they're good at what this job or role, leaves me with something in my heart that says I need to get back to them or follow up. So make sure you have that ready and refer it back to the conversations we already had early on in the interview, because it's so good for me to have a reaffirmation that you know exactly what I want and you know why you're the right person for it. Great. So I hope you get what I'm trying to say here. Active listening is key, not just because we just need to listen and understand, but because 10 to 20% of the success that you have at work is related to your academics, credential, and experience. 80% of it is communication, teamwork. Why? Because through that, you grow, you learn, you make connections, you start having relationships, and you build your career from there on. So remember that 80% is actually around how you communicate with people. So practice that every day, and hopefully you'll be prepared for your next interview and you see some difference. Thank you.